Hello, hopefully you enjoyed the video about the tank transporter. You can't have a tank transporter without a tank, so my wife very kindly bought me a Challenger 2 data entry system tank to go on the back of the M1070, and unfortunately it doesn't lend itself quite as well to the videos as the truck did, but I shall do my best. I've got quite a lot of it assembled. The instructions really very clear. It's a Ryfield model. I'm not convinced it's as good as the Hobby Boss, but there you go. The bits and pieces are all clearly marked. You have to drill your own holes, 0.7mm and a 1.1mm hole in those particular pieces. And on there, whether they have to be exact I don't know, because it's a bit still fitted together. I bought some drills from Amazon, some micro drills, and my son very kindly bought me an equivalent of a Dremel, which is very good and extremely helpful. Put the pieces together, and as you can see, the instructions are really quite clear. There was no real problems with it. As I did with the truck, I'm leaving some stuff, in particular the glass parts, these are glass parts here, until it's all painted, and then I can put them in and don't have to worry about masking them out and getting paint all over them. The tank itself, so those bits that I've just shown you there, the glass would go in here, would go inside that little cage there, obviously to protect them from being broken. Then, so we've done, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, again nothing drastic. We'll put there slight different and handed. Those frames there are, as it says, slightly different, and they're handed, so if you put them on the wrong side, you're knackered basically. Step 5, step 6, I put half of this together, which is, I'm assuming one's a fuel jerry can, and I know one's a water jerry can because it says water on it. So what I've done is I've made the frame to carry them, and I've put that on, and then I've made the jerry cans. It does say water, and then what I'll do is I'll paint those. They're a sand colour according to the instructions, so I'll paint those separately. That little piece at the back there is to lock them into position. This piece here goes onto the back of the tank there and there, or there and there, and that, sorry you can't see that, can you? There and there, and there's a tow bar that goes across as well, a stiff tow bar. So all of those, there it is, will be painted separately and then stuck on after everything's been painted. From there, the brass bits, really quite delicate on this, as you can see they're really very thin, and let's see if we can get you a better view, maybe there, yeah, and the armour, the bar armour, fastens to that. That's all of that, and all of that, that's the bar I was talking about, and the hook to fasten it on with. I'm going to paint those black and put them on last. There's also another little piece that goes through and pins it on. That's the locating arm, the fastening arm for this whole frame here. It then says to put the side bits on. When you put those on, you need to be very careful with them. They don't go on quite the way you think they do. Almost invisibly, there are little marks on this frame to locate those, and there's no locating pins, you just have to put them in and glue them on. The rest of it was really quite easy. Yeah, there was nothing difficult on there. Putting the locating the suspension in was really quite easy as well. Oddly, they had all the means there to make the suspension work, but didn't. So hey ho, go figure. So if the suspension doesn't work, there's no way to make it work. And we did the next page, which in reality is put the wheels together and then put them on the tank. I have put the wheels together, as you can see, and I have put them on the tank, but I'll put them on so that I can take them off again. And I've done that because I'm going to take them all back off, all the wheels back off, on both sides, and then spray the whole of the tank, paint the whole thing. There's also, I'll come to it in a minute actually, so all the wheels will come off, they will be painted separately, and the whole of the whole up and top and bottom will be painted, and that's going to be this colour, which is the British Army colour, the British military colour for it. It then says that I should make the tracks. I haven't made the tracks yet, for the simple reason there's absolutely no point. If I'm going to take the wheels back off, there's no point in making the tracks yet, is there? So I haven't made the tracks, but I have continued with the hull. So I put the top on the hull, as you can see, which is here, and this piece here takes a little bit of working. This piece here that goes onto the front frame, I'll show you that now, which is here. And the piece I've just mentioned on the instructions is this piece. And what I found, I tried bending it and then putting it on, was never going to work. After the first bend, I realised it was never going to work. There's tiny little hooks on it, and on this piece as well, there are tiny little bends that go over. So what I did was I glued them onto those parts, glued the brass onto the parts, allowed the adhesive to set, and probably about 12 hours, 24 hours, and then bent the pieces over so that they fit on there nicely, and they fit perfectly if you do it that way. So that's on step 12, and it's these pieces here where I've written on it, glue on and then bend, and this one here is exactly the same, so there's the two things there, and this one as well is a brass piece. You'd never get those bends correct without using the piece of plastic that they're going to cover as a template. So then, it's entirely up to yourselves basically. Then carry on with the rest of the hull. It says that you should put that on, but it sits proud of the hull. The piece I've just shown you sits proud of the hull there. So what that means in reality, of course, is that if you fit it on before you paint, then you're going to have a devil's own job getting the paint in underneath there, and you're going to show bits of grey plastic, I reckon. So I think it's going to be easier to paint the two, then fix it on. So that's exactly what I've done. Two injection mould, of course. At the front here, under those mud guards, there are two injection mouldings on each side. I don't know if you can see them there. Yes, you can, just little white bits where I've painted underneath, where I've filled it underneath. You see them? Yeah, in there and in there. If you don't fill those when you cut the injection lugs off, If you don't fill them before you paint it, they're going to stand out a mile. In fact, I'll probably pull that wheel up and show you more clearly. There you go. Two of them there. So those two on either side need filling. Now, that's it. I don't want to teach anybody how to suck eggs. I didn't have enough filler to do the bits and pieces on this model. But what I did have was some decorator's caulk in the shed, and I filled most of the holes in it with that to screw it a bit out. That's £2 for a litre tube, whereas the filler for the modelling filler, you got £4 for a tiny little bit. Go figure. So there they go on. I've glued the front of onto the hole there, and I've glued the top onto the top of the hole. These side pieces I've built up, as you can see. I've crossed them off. Quite a few holes that you need to drill in them. Again, the Dremel type drill doesn't cost a fortune from Amazon, and a set of drills again doesn't cost a fortune, and drill the holes in it. Okay, it's a lot easier than the pin drill where you've got to drill it by hand by twisting the thing. I've then put the brass work onto the top of the frames. That's these frames here. Then put the brass work onto the top of them, and as you can see there, all the way along the top, this piece here was really quite difficult on this piece here as well. Yeah, it goes along, and then as you can see it goes down, across, up and across, and then has to finish at the end there. What I ended up doing was, when I looked at it, the obvious way to do it was to glue it on at this point here, bend the first bit down in like a V if you liked, and then leave it for 12 hours or so until the cement is set there, and then press it into position all the way along there, and then glue it back all the way along there, and that worked really quite well. The rest of the bits on it I glued on all the way along here, but as you can see I've not glued them onto the tank. That's the armour on the side that fits onto this here, and they in turn fit onto those pins that are sticking out from the side there between the wheels. The reason I've not glued it on again is, if you glue it on, you're not going to be able to paint on the inside. You're going to have a devil's own job, and of course then you wouldn't be able to get the wheels off. So I've built these up, and I will paint them separately and paint the inside of them as well, because you're going to be able to see the inside of these from the underneath of the tank, from the underneath of the model. Moving on, the bar armour, I'm going to paint it on the sprue. All this bar armour, there's no point in trying to paint that when it's on the model. You may as well leave it on the sprue and paint it that way. It'll be a lot easier, and then of course just glue it on. These cables in the kit, that's a piece of cotton. Doesn't look anything like a cable to me. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of picture wire, which is basically the same as a steel cable made of brass, glued on the cleats at the ends, fixed all that up, and I'll paint these black and put them on, or maybe I'll paint them aluminium, I don't know, steel, and then they will fit into those and glue into place all the way along. They go along and then go into the other end here. Obviously it won't stick there at the moment because I'm not using any glue, but that's the idea. And I think it's going to be easier to glue all these in, the ends of the cable, the loops if you like, and then glue the cable between them. These tiny little bits, can you see them? There, yeah, and there are to support the steel cable along the top of the body, along there. Okay, so when it's all glued together, they will keep it in check along the side and hold it into place. Yeah, I think you can see that. I'll take some photographs of that anyway. And those little pins, when you come to put them on, they are so tiny that literally, that's them there, F42, they're so tiny that even with a pair of tweezers, I was struggling. There's a moulding block on the top of them though, a big lump of plastic. And what I found in the end was I didn't cut the lump of plastic off, used that to hold it with the tweezers, glue it into position. And again, when the cement had set, snip the block of plastic off the top, worked quite well. Again, the bar armour, I'll paint it all on the sprue and then glue it on later, fasten it on later. This little cable reel here seems to fit on the frame that carries the jerry cans. Strange in my view, but there you go. It didn't seem to make any sense to me to have a cable reel with no cable on it. It doesn't make any sense at all. It wouldn't happen in real life because it's just an ornament if it doesn't have a cable on it. So what I've done is put the frame together, as you can see, and then I've wound a little piece of wire around it, round and round and round, so that it fits in there. I'm sure you can see that. Then at the end, I've looped it over. I might have to turn it over so that you can see it on the background. Yeah, loop the end over and then cut a tiny piece of lead. If you can see that there, again I'll put some photographs of it on. Tiny piece of lead to secure the loop at the other end, which is what you would get on a real cable. When I come to paint it, I will glue that on before I paint, but when I come to paint it, I'll mask that out with a piece of paper, mask all of that out, and then spray it. The rest of it here, again, really quite simple. The instructions say that there should be 6 of these F67 times 6. You really need to find 8 of those. There are 8 of them that go on the top of the hole there. They're handles to open the bonnet. You've got the hinges on one side, which are fairly easy to install. But the handles on the back here are really very, very tiny, and there's no actual locating hole. There's just a tiny, tiny indentation in the plastic to glue those into, and it's a nightmare. I tried with a sticky stick so that I could, put it in place, but then the stick that I was using was bigger than the handle, so I couldn't find the handle to release it. I tried with tweezers, and then the carpet monster ate them, so I had to spend an hour crawling around to go and find them again. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Eventually, I got them all there. What I ended up doing was put a tiny bit of glue on the top of on the lug holes, laying the handle down, and then lifting it up ever so gently with a tip of a knife really, and that seemed to work. The rest of it really quite easy. The brass for that, cutting the photo etch for that out for that, again really quite easy. It's all nice and square. The windscreen assembly, I've left the glass out and the brass out. Again, I don't want to spray the brass basically. There it is. So I've put it together, I've glued it in and left the hole at the front where the glass goes, and also the 2 photo etched windscreen wipers have been left out. They'll go on later, after I've painted it all. And the two bits that go on the side here, they cover the top of this one. So if you don't put that one on, then you can't put these two on. Simple as that. So again, you've got to leave it, they sit on the armour and on the top of here. So I've assembled them, put them all together, assembled them together, and then I'll put them on when it's painted. They sit on there, as it shows really very clearly on the diagram. I'll put the two mud guards on at the back, because I can get the wheels off and the tracks back on, and that is where I'm up to basically. All very straightforward, and you know, it starts to look quite like a tank after a while. I put the wheels on because one of our cats thinks that they're toys, and she might like to kick them around the room, so they're on there and they're safe on there, they're not going to get lost. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to paint all that, and then so I'm going to go back in time to step number 10 and build all the tracks. Then I'll do another video when I've built those, and we'll see how we've gone with that. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section at the bottom. I'll speak to you next time. Ta-ra!